Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's ClaritySoft training webinar. Today is Tuesday, September 8th, 2020. I'm Susan Arnold, Implementation Specialist here at ClaritySoft, and our topic for today is using the calculated fields in ClaritySoft. There is a custom field type for making calculations, and we're going to talk about those today. First of all, I'll just give you a quick overview of the calculated fields, and then we'll look at the different operators and functions. These fields work like Excel calculations, so they're pretty similar to Excel. And you can create a calculated field and then use multiple fields in your record to perform the calculation. And in the calculation, you can return a number, you can return a date, you can return text. So there are different values that you can return depending on your calculation. And you can use if statements and other statements within, like you would use in Excel. So you can build some pretty complex things. The only thing you can't do is use the result of a calculated field in another calculated field, okay? Also, as a heads up, depending on the level of ClaritySoft that you have purchased, you may or may not see the calculated field type when you go to create a custom field. If you don't see it, then what you want to do is talk with your account rep about turning that on, that functionality on in your database. Also, you need to be an admin user in the database in order to create custom fields to start with, okay? So we're gonna learn how to create fields and then how to get them to calculate. And the ones down at the bottom are the ones that we're going to create, and we'll talk about other ones in there. Also, just to let you know, in our help system, our knowledge base, there are some samples out there that you can go out and explore. So I'll show you where those are in just a few minutes. But we're going to do a weighted revenue and opportunities. This is one that a lot of people ask about. You have your amount for your opportunity, and then you have your percent probability for whatever sales stage level you're at. And people want to know, well, what's the weighted amount? Where you're taking your percent probability times your amount to give you the weighted amount. The other one that's fairly popular is when you put in a date for a contract or something like that, and you want it to automatically calculate the expiration date or the renewal date for you. So we'll add that in. And another popular one is calculating the age based upon the birth date of someone. And then the last one, age of a new lead. When you're putting new leads in your database, you can have a calculation that would show your sales team how long, excuse me, that particular lead has been set as a new lead, hasn't been changed to working or hasn't been converted. So we'll do those, and then we can talk about other ones along the way. So let me bring up my ClaritySoft. And I'm already in my opportunities module, and I just want to open a record here to show you where we're headed. In the opportunities module, you have an amount field and you have your percent probability field. And your percent probability field will change according to which sales stage you have selected. Your sales stages will be different than mine. They're customizable in your database, and your percentages will probably be different. But when you're defining your sales stages and settings, you are able to set what percent probability you want to go with that particular sales stage. And then as you change it, it will change the probability, which then when you put in the calculation for the weighted amount, it will also calculate that and update it, okay? So let me back this one off a little bit here. And then your number that's in the amount field, right now I know this is coming from the products and services tab because it's grayed out. If I wanted to change this value, I would need to go to here and change my products, okay? So we are going to go create a weighted amount calculated field. So I'm going to go to settings. And then I'm going to go to opportunities, custom fields. And then I'm going to type in or add a new custom field. Just like you're adding any other custom field, you give it a name. And then I choose from the drop-down list calculated. And like I said, you may not see this. It depends on the level of Clarity Soft that you have. So if you don't see this, then you know you need to talk to your account rep. As soon as I choose calculated, then notice it gives me another field here for return type. What do I want as return? Text, number, percent, currency, or date and time. Well, in this case, I would want to return a number, or I could return currency too. Either one would work. Let's do currency. And then I can choose whether I want it to be a whole number or include dollars and cents. So I've got what I want here. Now I have to come down into this area and build my calculation. So right here it's saying weighted amount in currency is equal to. So this is kind of where you're going to build your formula. And then over here you've got a drop-down list of all our mathematical operators. And you have a list of all the functions. And you have a list of all of the fields that you can insert into the calculation. So these would be all the fields that are part of the opportunity record, including your custom fields. So my calculation is I want to take the amount times the probability divided by 100. So it's pretty simple. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to Insert Fields, choose amount. Then I can either type the asterisks or I can go over here to operator and select it. Doesn't matter. Puts it in, and then I want to choose my probability field. And then I want to divide it by 100. So you can see what happens. The fields are enclosed in square brackets, and this kind of spaces itself out as you put information in. So that's my formula. That's all I need for this. So I scroll down until I see the Save button and save it. Now, once in a while, you might get an error popping up that says you're missing a parenthesis or you're missing something, and you just have to figure it out. The syntax is almost exactly like Excel, but sometimes it's a little bit different and you have to figure it out. So I now have my weighted amount calculated field added here, and just like any other custom field, I need to put it in my user interface template. So I'm going to come over here, click on opportunity. And then choose my profile. And if you have multiple access profiles, you would need to copy this layout to all your other profiles. So here is my weighted amount here. I'm going to pull it over and put it underneath the amount field. Okay. And if I wanted to move my probability over there, I could. I mean, you can move your fields anywhere you want. All right. And then I'm going to save this. And then after I save it, you need to log out and log back in. So when I come back in, I will go back to my opportunities. And I'm going to open this one. This one doesn't have any amount in it yet. So I'm going to open this opportunity record. I can see that I'm at the discovery stage, which right now that probability is 30%. And if I type in 10,000, now notice that it doesn't calculate right away. What you have to do to force it to calculate is come down and click the save button. And as soon as I do that, I can see that with my 30% probability times the 10,000, the weighted amount is 3,000. Also, everybody, please notice, those of you that have been using ClaritySoft for a while, we now have formatting in our numeric fields in ClaritySoft. If they're set to currency, they show dollars, signs, and commas. We've been waiting for this for a long time, but all your numbers now are formatting correctly with commas and everything like that. So that's a new thing that's been around now, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I don't know. So that's how you do that. So I have the weighted amount there. Now, if I come back over here and change my sales stage to, we'll jump it to quotation, which is 75%. Then when I go down and click save, it will up the weighted amount to 7,500. If I change the amount, then it will change. So, and either changing the amount field or changing the sales stage will do the calculation when you save it, okay? So, and if I add products and services, then it will come from there. I'll go back to one of my other ones where I have products and services already added. So if I open one of these, and I have my products and services already added here, which is giving me an amount of 9649.72 times 75% gives me 7237. Okay, and I told this to display as a whole number, not with cents in it. I could go back and change that if I wanted to. Okay, and again, if I change my stage to the next stage, save it, it's going to recalculate. Okay, so that's calculation number one. Oh, and the other thing you can do too, because this is a custom field, I can now add this to my column settings. So I can have my amount, and I can see my weighted amount right there. So then you can see the difference between the two. All right. Because it's a normal custom field, it just does a calculation. Okay, the next one that we want to do is a renewal date. We're going to go to accounts for this. So in the account record, what I want, I need to have a field for a contract date, okay? That'll just be a date field. Then I need a field for the contract renewal or expiration, whatever you want to call it, and that will be the calculation, okay? Now, this one can go a lot of different ways. If your standard contracts are usually a year, then you can just create the calculation to calculate per year. If they might be multiple different years, like 1, 2, or 3 years, then you can create a drop-down list field for the length of the contract and then pull that information into the calculation, okay? So there are several different ways to do it. We'll do it the simple way to start with, and then we can see if we have time to expand on that. And I'm actually going to show you 2 ways to do it. So we're going to cancel out of this. Go to settings. And I'm sure those of you that are pretty good at Excel have things rolling around in your head and you're thinking, ooh, I could do this, I could do this. So I'm going to go to accounts, and the first thing I want to type is, I just make sure I'm not typing the same dates. You can see I've got some of these things in here. I'll just say contract start. And then I'm going to make it a date field. That's where we're just going to type the date that the contract starts, okay, and save it. And then we're going to add contract renew, and this one will be calculated. And we're going to return a date. That's what we want. So the contract renew is equal to, basically, this is the simplest one. It's going to be equal to the contract start plus 366, okay? So 365 days later, 366 days later would be when the contract needs to be renewed if it's a one-year contract, okay? So that's one way. Then I'm going to add another one. I'm just going to call this option 2, just so it's different for the computer. Again, it's a calculated date. It's returning a date. And this time we're going to put in a function, which actually isn't in the drop-down list, but it works. Date add, okay? And then we're going to type year, comma, 1, comma, and then contract start. And then I need to finish it off with parentheses. Hello. Okay, so what we're saying is we're adding a date. The duration is a year, counting in years. It's 1 year. I could put 2, I could put 3, and it's adding it to the contract start date. Okay, so if I go down and click save. So I now have 2 ways to calculate it, just so you can see the difference. You would not do this. And then again, add it to the user interface template. I'm going to get lots of practice with this today. And then I can find my, I'm just going to stick all these up here. There's contract renew. There's contract renew option 2 and contract start. Okay, so I've got my 3 here, the start date, the renew with the simple formula, and the option 2 with the slightly more complex one. And we'll log out. So if we open an account here, we have our contract start, so I can enter a date. So if we said it started today, again, it's not going to calculate until I come down here and click save. So notice this one, when I added 366, I get 99, and the other one does it more accurately. If I add 365, sometimes I get a year from it, sometimes I get 1 day less, so it's kind of an odd one. So if you use the second one, you're going to be accurate because it is adding 1 year, okay? So those are the two ways to do that one. And then next year, well, what we're going to do in a few minutes is we're going to add a workflow option to say that the salesperson, whoever owns the record, should be notified 30 days ahead of the contract renew date to say you need to contact this customer to ask, to tell them their renewal is up. You could set it 30 days, 60 days, however long a time you need to get with them. And then it will automatically notify the salesperson that they need to get in touch with the customer. So we're going to do that in a few minutes. So that is there. And you just, add it here. Now what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to change this date. I'm going to back this up to August the 3rd. Okay, and then recalculate this because this I want to use in my workflow when we do it. Okay, all right, so that's how that one works. So again, not too overly difficult to do. Just takes some thinking through the steps. All right, then the next one that I said is a popular one for certain people is calculating the age of a person. Sometimes people need this for like insurance applications or other types of applications. And that's in the contacts module. So if I come here to contacts, now I have already added in here a date of birth field. So you would need a field called date of birth, and it would need to be a date field. So that is already here. But then what I want to do is add a calculated field that would take the date of birth basically and subtract it from the current date, from the current date, to get the age of the person. So technically, every single time you go into the record, it would have the accurate calculation for that person's age. All right, so that's what we're going to do. And we'll go to settings. And then customization, contacts. And we're going to add age. Let's see, I want to cancel here a second just to check. I know I have another age field in here. I remember what it called it. Age label year. Okay. All right. And again, calculated. It's going to return a number. We want it to be a whole number. And this is going to be equal to basically the date of birth, the difference between the date of birth and the current date. So this one gets a little interesting. We're going to type in floor, and this one is in the knowledge base, and then a parenthesis, and then you're going to type year fraction. I think that is in this list right here. Returns the fraction of the year. Okay, and then you put in the start date and the end date. Well, the start date in this case, and I'm just going to click in here, I'll get rid of this extra stuff in a minute, is the start date is the date of birth. Okay, and the end date is the current date, which is get date, which returns now. in Eastern Standard Time. This one returns it in Greenwich time, okay? If it makes a difference. So now what I have to do is I have the correct fields in there, so I need to get rid of what it was telling me to do. Okay. So like in Excel, it's prompting you for what you need to put into your formulas. Floor simply means round it down. That's what that means, go to the floor with it. So it's equivalent to round down in Excel. So what we have is we're rounding down the fraction of the year for the date of birth and the current date. You scroll down and you click save. Oops, mismatch. So I missed day. That's what a good thing to see. So now we got to figure out where we need another parenthesis. Oh, I need an extra one. Yep, I need one more parenthesis out here to finish it off. Okay. Okay, so I have that. And now I can go back to my contact UI template. And I now have my age. Bring this one over. And I'm going to bring this one over too. This one was already created. I'll go back and show you what it looks like. This one's going to end up saying, one is going to say just the number, like 42. This one is going to say 42 years. Okay. And I'll show you the formula for that one, if that makes a difference. Okay. Come on. Must have the caps lock on. There we go. Okay, so go to our contacts. And we'll open person. So see, it automatically calculates when it opens the record. So if you already have a person's birth date in there, when you open the record, it will calculate, it refreshes. So you can see the difference here. The one I added just simply gives you 38, which is probably fine because you say that's the age. But this one adds the label of years if you want it, okay? So if I change this to 75 and go down and click save, then it will recalculate the age. Okay, so that's how you can do the age. And again, that will just constantly update. Whenever you open the record, it's going to show you the proper age. You can show it in your column settings and all of that and have it right there for you to use. And that's a fairly common one, especially in insurance and some other industries where they need to calculate the age. All right. So that's that one. Now I did want to show you that other calculation in case you're interested in having it show the years. So that one was here, this one. So what this is doing, all of these are using that floor, so round down, and then it's saying if the fraction of the year for date of birth is less than or equal to 0, then it, obviously it doesn't work. So it displays not applicable. If the year fraction is equal to 1, then it shows 1 year, singular. Okay. And if it's anything else basically greater than 1, then it's going to show the word years. Okay. So that's if you wanted to get that specific about it. Obviously, if you don't ever have anybody that's less than a year or 1 year old, then you don't need that difference there. You can just have it display the years. So it's just another way to do it if you wanted to add to it. But you can see very similar to Excel, and you've got a great big box here where you can type a pretty big formula to do all kinds of if statements and things like that. So I just wanted to show that one to you because it's a little bit different. All right, then the last one I wanted to show you, and then we'll do our workflow, is how to age a lead. So, and this one can also apply to the last touch date field. It could work similarly in accounts or contacts with the last touch date field. So we're going to go to leads. And what we want to do here, we want to add a field that's going to calculate. First of all, it's going to look to see if the status of the lead is new, because you have new, working, closed to converted. So we want it to be a new lead. And then we are going to get the current date, like we just did in the birth date, and subtract the creation date of the lead from the current date to give us the number of days that that lead has been sitting there. Okay, so we're going to add a new field. Calculated, and we're going to return a number for whole numbers. Okay, and now we come down here, and this is going to be, hold on a second, get this out of the way, an if statement. And then again, notice it throws everything in that, if, what's your logical test, then what happens if it's true, what happens if it's false. So I just kind of click in here like I did before. My logical test is that status is equal to new. Okay, so I want to check old. All right, and then I click to the right of it. And then I can either select the operator or type the operator. And then I have to put my new in single quotes. So if status is equal to new, then the next thing is to put a comma. And then I'm going to get the current date. All right. And do a minus. And I'm going to subtract the field creation date. Okay. So then all of this, except for that final parenthesis, can go away. Oops, took my square bracket away. Okay, so if the status is new, get the current date, subtract the creation date from it, and that should return the number of days that it's been that new lead has been sitting there, okay, without having its status change. So I'm going to scroll down and click Save. I'm always happy when it saves without giving me any errors. And then go to my user interface template, go to leads, and then all, and I'm going to bring this over. So I'm going to put this up here, and I'm going to take the creation date up here, and then you'll see it. It's a little easier to see than all over here. So I'll save this. If nothing else, you'll have the pattern in your head when you're done. Create the field, user interface template, log out, log back in. Calculations might not make any sense, but everything else will be burned in. Okay, so we'll go to leads, and when I open a lead, now here's a lead that was created on the 25th of August. So when I go in here, it should have the calculation. There it is, it's 14 days old. All right, now the other thing I can do here to make it easier is add this now to my columns so that you can quickly glance down your columns. So there's a creation date. So there you can see. Then you can set up a filter for, using advanced search to find all the ones that are greater than a certain number. And those are the ones you need to work on. So you can see I'm a pretty bad salesperson here. I've got ones that are 600 days old. Oh my. All right. So that's how you can add that and age it. So again, you could do something similar with the last touch date in accounts as well. All right. What I wanted to next show you is back at accounts, we created that contract renewal. Let's pull these into the columns here. So we've got contract renew. Just put that here. Where's the contract date? Contract start. Okay. And click apply. So we can see our start date here, our renew date is next year, okay? So actually what I need to do here, I need to back this up. I need to go in here and I need to back this up to 2019, okay? Because it's not going to look at 2021 to renew. So that's where we'll assume they got their contract last year. It's due to renew, or it's due to renew in August. I'll go in and change this. But what we want to do is we want to have a trigger that says, oh, when this date is within 30 days of renewing, it gives the salesperson, we can either have it send an email, or you can have them assigned an activity. Or you could have an email triggered to send to the contact. All except that probably wouldn't work here at the account level. But you can do a couple of different things. So we're adding a little workflow teaching into this one too. So again, workflows are under settings. And you go to workflow automation. If you want to create an email template to be sent, then you need to create your template first and save it, okay? I'm just going to create an activity. So now I can say I want to create a new process, and I'm going to call it contract. I'll just say renews. And you could put the number of days out. You know how far back you need to start notifying people. And then you associate it with which module it needs to go with. Okay, well, this one's in accounts. That's where the field is. If you need to set a filter that some field is going to be worth some value, then you can set a filter here, but we really don't need to do that here. The next one is the option is how, when do you want the trigger to occur? Well, it makes sense when you first think about it to say once when the record is created or edited. However, what happens next year and the year after and the year after when you change the date to the next year's renewal date? So what you need to do is set to one of the multiple ones here, okay? So I'm just going to set this to multiple when existing record is edited, which meets the rule criteria, okay? So that means it can happen multiple times. On the other one, it only happens once and then it never triggers again. And the action that we're taking is 30 days or 40 days or 60 days, whatever you want, before the contract renewal. Where is it? Where's my contract renewal date? I do have it in there, right? Oh, that's probably because of contact start. Hold on, folks. Maybe I can't. I thought I did this before. Anyway, well, we can do it this way. If it's a year, then we'd want it so many days after the contract start. So we'll just say 330 days after the contract start. I swear I did this. So contract and the activity type can become a task or a call or whatever you want it to be. Okay, I'll just set it as a task. And you don't need to put any dates in here because it's going to figure that out. And then you assign it to whoever the owner is, unless one specific person in your company is supposed to send out these renewal messages. Then you'd assign it to one person. Otherwise, it goes to whoever the owner of the record is. And then down here, you can say, and then you can insert fields and say contract start, and it's probably at the bottom because it's custom. Okay, and then you can insert a field here. So, or let's say contract renew. And then you probably want to put in, maybe the name of the account so that they know who the heck it's for. So again, you would write a message down in here to say who it's for and what it's for. So you would insert all the necessary fields and then you save it. Okay, So we now have a new workflow process for the contract renews in 30 days. And then again, you always need to log out for these. So that now if I change this, this should be okay. So if I just make this the 5th, okay, save and close. And then, no, that's not going to work right, guys. Boy, this is weird. See, I did one earlier and it had the contract expire in there. So I'm not sure what happened between this morning and now, but here's one that got triggered earlier. Contact expires and see, contact the customer, remind them their contract is up. Okay, so at that point, the date was set to this. So I'm not sure what went here, but that's what works. It will automatically generate the task for the user, and then that would show up also in my to-do list in ClaritySoft. Okay, so I'm not sure. Let's go back to settings one more time and just see that the date for some reason wasn't showing up. It's in 30 days. That's strange. I don't know where it went. Because if I go back to, thought I had another one in here, but I think I accidentally deleted it. But anyway, you should be able to set up workflow processes for triggers on these fields. So when it's worth a certain value, it's a certain range ahead, or it's something that returns a text, you can set up a workflow process to connect it and trigger an action to occur. So again, you know, the calculated fields, if you go to the knowledge base, click on the question mark and go to the knowledge base. Then here, if you search for calculated fields, you will see all the information here. It gives you the rules, okay? And then it gives you all of your operators and what they do. And then down here, it gives you all of the functions. There's that date add function, okay? So some of them may be in the list and some may not be in the list, but use this as a resource here. You have quite a bit of stuff to work with. And you can do multi-layer if statements and stuff like that. And then this is where all the different examples are. So here's the age. These are some of the ones I use. Here's a currency conversion, a profit margin in percent or in dollars. So you can go down here, and when you click on one of these, it expands it to show you an example, and then it tells you how to build it. This one's very simple. It's amount minus cost in the opportunity module. So that gives you just $1 difference. If you do where is it? This one, a profit margin in percent, then you have an if. Now this is wrong here, I noticed. This should say if the amount is greater than 0, not with the little quote marks. If it's greater than 0, then you do the amount minus the cost divided by the amount. And if it's if there's nothing there, then null, it just returns nothing. Okay. This one's kind of a cool one to try, to see if, if you want to use that one. So go explore these in the knowledge base and see if you can find some ones. Now here's an interesting one, sales territory. I tried this one by just taking this text and copying it, but I kept crashing my database, so there's something wrong with the formula. And so I need to figure it out and then let the person know who set these up here on the knowledge base how to fix it. But if you have sales territories then that are by state, you can have a calculated field for territory that looks at the state field to see what the value is and then assign the territory according to the state. And so basically this is saying if the state is Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine, et cetera, then return the territory of 1-northeast. Okay, so it would be an automatic calculation of the territory rather than someone having to pick from a drop-down list. So this might be one to try, and it may give you another idea for some other type of matching that you want to do according to criteria. So look at these and sort of expand on your own ideas and your own, Excel skills and play with them. First of all, you might have to talk to your account rep to find out, that you have them or not, or you need to have them. But yeah, just wanted to give you some ideas on how you can use the calculated fields that we have in the system, because I think a lot of times people don't know they're there. All right, well, I think I'm going to wrap up for today. First of all, thanks for coming. We had a good group today. And if you need help, you can call support at 888-838-7487 extension 2. Our hours are between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern time, or you can email them support@claritysoft.com at any time. If you're working in your quick start with Linda or myself, then you can contact one of us and we'll be able to help you. And if you have any cool ideas, if you create some formulas that are pretty useful that you think other people might like, please send them to us at info@claritysoft.com, and then we can post them out on the knowledge base as examples for people to use. So if you come up with some good ones, let us know. We'd be happy to post them out there for others. And if you have any other questions or ideas on other webinars, then please let us know as well, because we're always looking for new ideas. I like to do different things, so give me some thoughts on what you would like. All right. Well, with that, I will let you go. Have a good rest of the afternoon and a good rest of the week.